Is this the moment for Lee Fowler? It is. Take your place in Division 2, Huddersfield Town.
He's missed. Steve Simonson clears the flame of the goal and collapses in a heap of tears.
Pate's got a chance. Pate scores! Jack Pate scores!
Heffer's in there!
Smith scores for Huddersfield Town! 3-2 Town! Forrest Sherry, Danny Ward saves! Danny Ward saves! De Quattro's in, round De Gea! 2-0 Huddersfield Town!
Christopher Schindler has a chance to write his name in Huddersfield Town legend. And he takes that chance!
Hello and welcome to episode 31 of the Andy Takes That Chance podcast.
Matt, tell me we won. Tell me we've won a game of football. We beat Watford. Tell me.
As the club award ceremony finishes,
We haven't lost again, have we? No.
It's time for your weekly ceremony of misery. Sorry, Cozzy. As the stadium starts to empty, the Andy Takes That Chance studio gets busier with people wanting their say. I'm Matt. Frothing with me at the mouth this week, I have the winner of the most Whoppers watched in a season award, Neil Wayne. Future Britain's Got Talent Golden Buzzer winner, Richard Kosmala. And the winner of the most times they've been called a virgin in response to one tweet award, it's the bloke that rattles the Sheffield Wednesday fans with his cartoons, Danny G.
Never living that down, am I?
Should end it there. We can't go any better than that.
Right, guys, Huddersfield 1, Watford 2, Cozzy, I'm sorry to say.
Defeat number 29 of a fantastic season.
Right, we'll start with team selection, because, again, we've had Jan, a lot of people are accusing Jan of borrowing Lee Clark's pinball, or what is it?
I think he's borrowed it
bingo
from the
machine.
champagne service since, has it?
So team selection, Neil, there's a few in there that you've kind of raised an eyebrow at.
Yeah, first one in goal. Obviously, we all want Lossell in goal. Don't think that's in doubt. I just find it bizarre that 2 weeks running, after bombing them all out, all Danes out, we've had Zanker on bench at Tottenham, and then not in 18 at all on Saturday. And then we've had Lossell bombed out for 3 or 4 games. And then Eamon not in 18 at all and Lossell straight back in.
Eamon apparently got an injury in training. They leaked that out.
Of course he has, yeah.
Do you think Hamer could potentially be good man management? And so hear me out on this one.
He was injured, Matt.
He's injured, but let's go from Neil's angle of maybe he's not injured.
He's not injured.
So if he's not injured, the guy's taken absolute dog's abuse on Twitter, social media. We're taking dog's abuse at Tottenham. He's had to delete his social media account. Is it better maybe as a man manager to take him out of the firing line for a while? I know you might say, well, why not play Coleman? But is it maybe better to take him out? Maybe he's seen what he needs to see and new goalkeeper in the summer.
Abuse since
it wasn't as bad as that week. Though. That week was bad.
In FA Cup at Bristol, it all came again.
What did he do at Bristol again?
We didn't go through that one again.
No.
And then obviously, I like everybody else was surprised to see him trot out at Tottenham. I think that would after the week before, I think that was a crazy game to play him in away at Tottenham. Big expectation, a nice big ground, new ground, cameras watching. That's severe pressure for a goalkeeper who's been under severe pressure.
Yeah, he's played Champions League football.
And
he should be able to handle it. He should be able to.
That's all well and good, but we've clearly seen that he can't. So I just think it's too late. But to then just chuck Lossell back in, I just thought it was bizarre. If you've bombed him out, all of a sudden you can bomb him back in. Surely, if that were the case, he's not even been on bench. I'm not saying Coleman's good enough because I don't think he is, but surely, if it's going to work right, that you'd have Lossell as backup on bench and you would have played Coleman. And I also don't understand the treatment of Danny Williams week before that we mentioned, and then he's not even in 18 this week. There's just some really bizarre selections going on that are just baffling.
Okay, well, we had one tweet from at HTFC Dreams regarding that, and it says Jonas Lossell coming back into the side, question. Bumper contract clause on number of games, true or not? I'm going to say not.
Well, if the club said he wasn't, I know what he's saying, but if he said he did get a knock in training, then maybe it's true. But obviously, we're all thinking no.
I think there's obviously something there. I think if going by Jan Ziva, I don't think he cares if he upsets anybody when he says he's bombing people out. So I think if there is an injury, there probably is an injury. But bumper contract clause, I don't think that's true with regards to Jonas Lössl. I think the bumper contract was what he maybe asked for in the summer, but there's no clause because we've taken over his contract from Mainz, and I don't think that's had that in there.
Lössl did ask for a massive pay rise after the World Cup when he came back. Town flatly said no, and there's been no discussion since.
Danny, I'll bring you in on this one here. Cause,
After his 0 appearances in the World Cup, that was. What did he think he'd done to deserve this?
Well, you tell me, but that's what happened.
Right.
He ends that, Danny, with saying, "Is it weak management to bring him back, or is it sensible management?" Because I think there's an argument for both, obviously.
Yeah, I'm with Neil. I would have put Coleman in just on the grounds of just giving him a bit of a run out and seeing what happens. I don't know whether it's strong management or weak management. Really, that's impossible to call without knowing what's going on behind the scenes, isn't it? I don't agree with the theory that he's got this contract that triggers this within a number of games. I can't see that being the case, but I wouldn't like to judge him on whether that's strong or weak management, not knowing what's going on behind the scenes, really.
So, Cozzy, we saw another strange piece of management as well. Last week, I thought Jonathan Hogg in the first hour was probably one of the worst players on the pitch. I thought he had an absolute stinker. And again, this week, he's had another one. At fault for the goal, in my opinion. But Jan Ziva said he's taken Hogg off 4 minutes before half-time to protect him from a red card. 4 minutes from half-time. Seems a strange move. So surely you have to start trusting your senior pros.
Definitely, it does to me. Bakuna was he on red as well? Sorry, on the yellow. I'm sure they were
possibly
on
got
yellow,
one later, yeah.
and that as well. Unbelievable. If Lutz could kill Hogg, I would kind of watched it. I thought there could be a bit of a ding dong here when he goes off and kind of Sievert tried to grab his hand.
I was watching that, and to be fair to Jonathan Hogg, Sievert went for him, and Jonathan Hogg turned round and said he had no problem because he's a complete professional hoggy.
And then sat at the back of the bench.
I thought it was the right decision. To be fair, I thought it was the right decision. Once Johnny Hogg's on a yellow, he's a danger. He's a red waiting to happen. He's not a player who can play out.
Do you think 4 minutes before half time? Do you think there's just no time like the present?
Well, the thing is, it was niggly, wasn't it? And there were a couple more, and
he's been doing that.
Little thing.
He's lost his head a bit. Yeah, he's lost his head a bit recently.
A number of times that Maddison turned him and he just grabbed him. They were like, and it wasn't even particularly in a dangerous position. He'd just instinctively reach out and grab him, and you think, are you just asking for a bucket?
Bakuna were on a yellow. Bakuna were on a yellow. Bakuna were on a yellow. And I couldn't believe it. What is being Bakuna next year? The same kind of that. He seems to be very reckless with his, kind of charging.
He's got some attitude as Bakuna. I kind of like it though.
You could have picked one of them, but I mean, to go with the senior pro, I know what you're saying, Neil, but I just thought this were another moment of, wow.
Didn't Bakuna get his yellow in second half for that tackle in the corner? 24th minute, says I remember it, because that guy said to me... What happened with that one at De La Foy in corner then, because he got booked for that? Was he missed, when he was right in corner, he jumped in? Because I was thinking, that's not a foul.
That was the one. Yeah, that was.
You were enjoying the game that much, Danny. You thought it was.
Yeah, but the thing with him is he put a couple of quality through balls in.
Yeah,
he had a good game, mate.
Yeah,
how Bakuna didn't get man at match on Saturday, I don't know. To be honest,
I thought it was outstanding. I thought it was really good. When Hogg went off, I was saying to a friend that I sit next to, I said to him, I wonder if, because one of Bakuna's main problems is he's not very good at tracking back defensively. That side you worry about, but you just wonder about him sitting deep and picking passes, and he seems to be, he really excelled at that.
It could have been. I mean, let's give Sievert a little bit of credit here. It could have been Hogg off because he knows he's a liability on one yellow, and almost saying to Bakuna, "Show us now, stand up, show us how he can grow up into a game." And maybe I am clutching, but
bringing Matty Daly on though.
It's a big call to bring a young lad. I thought
it
did well
for me. Maybe I'm looking too deep, but. Senior pro, Hogg, probably a player of the season. We'll come on to that later, but obviously didn't get it. Coming on for a kid.
It did all right, to be fair.
Surely Hogg can be trusted. Experienced pro. Yeah, all right, risk. But I just thought this was another moment of what is going on here. Kind of.
I thought with how close it was to half time, I was a little bit like it's a bit close. And I think some points you've got to trust your senior pros. If you pick them, you've got to trust them. But again, there just looked to be something a bit more maybe that we're not seeing there.
I know I've said I want to keep, get the young ones in like Matt Daly and what have you, but to do that so early, that would have been an ideal time to chuck on a Danny Williams.
Yeah.
But obviously,
wasn't there.
1 week on bench and getting 3 seconds and week after not there at all. So that the bizarre decisions do continue, but I'm clutching at a couple of positives out of it from Sievert's point of view and try my best for him.
I'm going to say something probably slightly controversial that I think you three might disagree. On? Yeah, could have brought Stankovic.
I mean, maybe you could say bringing youth.
Unless
it's just bizarre.
Unless he just maybe he's just giving. I think the thing is with him, he's giving game time. He's trying to get people in. I think it's a little bit muddled, but so that my take it's a bit like this podcast so far, isn't it? But my take was that I thought the first half was dire. It was turgid. It was hard to watch. It was boring. The last half hour, I thought we actually played quite well. It wasn't exciting, but I could see a bit more. With Bacuna pulling strings, I could see a bit more. And my controversial comment is that I thought we deserved a point. I didn't think Watford were anything in particular. We had a bit more possession. We had more attempts at goal.
The difference between the team, you said it was dire from a town point of view. Gerald Delafay were playing a different sport to anyone on that pitch. He were brilliant. Couldn't get anywhere near him. He were beating players for fun.
Both his goals were a bit lucky though. Pinball in the box. And we've had a number of situations where it's pinballed and it just hasn't. We've had men in the box. It's just not fallen for us.
What you need in that league though, isn't it? Just someone. I mean, obviously
someone who can read it.
Two clever finishes.
Yeah. This first one was top class.
The first
top
one,
class.
There was absolutely zero panic.
Yeah.
Imagine Tam getting a chance like that. It'd have been into somebody's shins, wherever.
Moonier's not putting that away.
No.
I just thought it summed up our season. It was hilarious because two bits of great play. First, the tackle from Congolo resulted in a goal straight away. So typical Town, brilliant bit of defending and a goal.
Yeah,
and then a great save, I thought, from Lursel. People might argue we should have done
No, it's a good save.
Yeah, and then the rebounds in. That just sums our season up. I just thought them 2 goals.
That's what I mean. I thought it was harsh. I thought 2-1 was harsh on us. The goal from Grant was a good header from Lerver. He's brought Lerver on for Mbenza because Mbenza, he's looking to get something into the box, and good header from Lerver, to be fair.
Scoring again.
Good finish.
The crossing again, what are we doing? Just are we trying to aim for corner flags with these crosses?
It was the fullbacks, wasn't it? Durham. I'd seen Durham put one ball. I don't think Durham's put a good ball in since Wolves away, has he? It wasn't that bad, Eric Durham.
Again, this is where it all goes a bit pear-shaped for me again. I appreciate the fact that he's brought Lerver on and he's assisted on the goal, but if we're at this, with 3 games left from a second season in Premier League, and we're bringing on a good Championship left back to play as part of a front 3 at home in Premier League, it just shows you that recruitment has been less than decent. It's just odd. It's just, especially when you got Pritchard sat there as well, a proper attacking midfielder. If you try to go for it at end,
it can whip a good ball.
Yeah, get him on. But just odd, really odd. And I like Chris Lerver. Just shouldn't be playing there.
I think it's just that I just look at it and think he just trusts Chris Lerver to go on the pitch and do a good job. I think that's probably just it.
The bizarre thing is though, he's playing Durham in front of him at left back, and Lerver's twice as good as Durham at left back.
And Durham used to be a striker.
Yeah.
So I would have moved.
It's all a bit wobbly, isn't it?
I'll tell you, I can't stand, and I've mentioned it before. Will Hughes, honestly, man, that guy just demanding cards. He was demanding.
Yeah.
He's such a petulant. He's always been kind of on that edge, but now he's just since he's had a few seasons in the Premier League, he's proper just changing it.
He's a middle class whopper, that lad.
You're painful, mate. Yeah, get up and get on with it.
But we've had a tweet from your favourite Cozzy, a win, so you can jump in with your BGs if you want at any point.
Wait till Friday, it's coming.
He said, and I thought this. Oh dear, I'll play that back. He says lots of players are getting stick for not trying or looking like they don't care, but I don't think you can underestimate the toll this season has taken on players' confidence levels and how difficult it is to play when these levels are rock bottom. And I just thought it was quite a good tweet to throw in at the end, and I think it's very fair. It's very easy to lose your rag with a lot of these players. Christopher Schindler, for example, confidence, and you can see him on the pitch, body language looks to be at rock bottom. He's taking it all very personally, looks very upset by the whole situation, and I think there's quite a few players like that, Lerver included as well, who would have obviously hoped for better for the support. Yeah,
you can maybe argue that Carlan Grant, obviously the shining light, they're the guy who's doing it, but if he'd have been here, pre-Christmas, maybe he'd have been the same.
I'd argue that by the way things have gone and the way confidence has gone, there's every chance that Carlan Grant could have been the same as Mounier with his confidence rock bottom. It's probably coming at a really good time. If it had come in at the start of the season, it could have ruined him. But
nice haircut, Mounier, though, wasn't it? A nice, proper haircut that had been done.
So
it was shocking. Honestly, I've not much more to say on our season. It just just can't believe what we.
Well, one thing that you want to say, Cozzy, is about the support on Saturday.
It was tremendous. Honestly, I had to drag myself there like a few of us, and I really wondered what we were going to get, because remember we read the Cowshed Lord statement out last week, and it were kind of, to me, it was almost like saying, well, the season's finished, that is it, we'll go again next season. And I really expected a morgue. As soon as obviously Watford scored in the first 10 minutes, I thought, and it was incredible, especially second half. I must admit, I've been a bit of a sulker kind of recently, and I'm like this defiant chanting and what have you, like you get cameras focusing in, but it was like a song of defiance. I was loving that Schindler one. It were almost like a defiance, as if to say, it was an amazing moment, and we're not going to let this absolute rubbish, kind of ruin it. And that's all, because it went on and on and on without much more songs, many songs than that as well. And it was almost like we're just trying to take anything kind of positive out of it. But I'm not sure the part of the ground started joining in that as well. And Watford fans were like, side of us, they were just like turning around and clapping as if to say, this is incredible, really. And I were really proud of our supporters, because they've been served up some absolute dross, haven't they, week in, week out.
Even my little 1-year-old was sat there clapping.
The players are really lucky that they've not turned, I don't think. There were bits and bats at Mbenza when kind of the first half he didn't go for the balls at times, but honestly, how many other clubs, when you lost 29 games, I don't care whether he should have been there or not, it's a miracle, they would have been savage though. God, remember. But honestly, they've been absolutely fantastic. They've been really lucky, I think, our players, to get what they've got.
I think so, yeah. I agree fully with that. Good point. So we'll move on to the next item on our agenda.
Barnes with the flick, Johnson with the turn, Johnson with the goal, and the game turned on its head.
Okay, so we've had a tweet from Brady Frost, who sounds like the NFL quarterback for Memphis or something. So he's linked the Daniel Storey article for ESPN, which is, last week we were sat here going, we need to understand what Jan's about. We need to know. We wanted the club to maybe do something or bring something out where he can outline his identity, the way he's thinking or what he's thinking about, because it would help with people like us who are sat there, either too daft to see what he's trying to do, or just don't understand, and maybe it's Jan's fault. But we just wanted to know what he was about, what he's trying to do, and we got a few answers, to be fair, in this ESPN story. So Daniel Storey's worth a follow on Twitter. He's quite pretty good. He writes for all sorts, doesn't he? So I've dug out some quotes for you guys, and then I'll read these out. I've probably dug out a few too many here, but I'll read these out, and then we'll have a chat about them once we do it. So what Jan says is, we all knew how special the Premier League was to Huddersfield Town and to the town of Huddersfield. Losing that can be hard to take, but what keeps me positive is that the club has always held a long-term view of my appointment. I signed a contract for 2.5 years. I wouldn't have come here if they weren't on board with the long-term view. We must have a good pre-season, he says. We must take some time to look at everything that has happened during the season. The club is willing to learn from its mistakes, and there's also no point ever trying to shy away from them. We have to analyse them in detail. That's the only way to turn them into positives. Obviously, each manager needs the best players for his style, and in the recruitment we now look at players who will fit my ethos. This is absolutely key. When I look at all the teams that are toward the top of the Championship now, each manager has created a team that mirrors them, but also has a club determined to get players to fit that style. The other thing to note about transfers is that you want to bring in players with fresh minds and fresh ideas. And then we'll finish off with a couple more where he says, given Huddersfield's Premier League form, Daniel Storey asked Sievert what he considered to be a perfect performance. And Jan said, pride in performance, counter-pressing, defensive anticipation, aggression to win the ball back immediately, and overlapping runs are all mentioned. But Sievert is at his most emphatic when discussing how highly he values the will and the fight of his players, which, for me, maybe leads into why he's been so frustrated. And he also says when he managed Dortmund's second team, he had players like Zagadou, which sounds like a song, Danny, and Jadon Sancho, and they had an inbuilt identity to fight. It was part of the player's genetic makeup. And he also then makes an analogy with a piano player doesn't become a maestro with a will to learn and the fight within him to get better. So I thought it was interesting, but I've got two takeaways from this. So I liked something he said, which was, even if you delay by 1 or 2 seconds, which allows an opponent more space, you have a problem. I need players who don't stop, who will catch you and beat you because they are committed to the spirit of this club. Look at the emblem of Huddersfield. We are terriers. If a terrier bites your leg, he isn't going to let go. I thought that was a one-up on David Wagner's. What I didn't like so much was where he said, in a year's time, I want to be sat here saying that I can see my face in this team. That is the most important thing. If I see myself in the team that represents this club on the pitch, then I know that results will be coming and Huddersfield will be on the right path. Neil, I wanted to see, we both wanted to see an idea of where he was going within 6, 7, 8 games, really. What did you make of the article and his interview? Because it's his first real at-length interview.
Not a lot, if I'm being brutally honest. It's easy to go and have an interview and talk and say your piece and do whatever else, but we've seen zero of that in 12 games. All I've seen is an angry little man screaming and shouting. We've heard stories of screaming and shouting on training ground. He'd done it on touchline, throwing stuff about, jumping up and down, getting angry. I'm alright for passion and getting animated, but there's a way and a time to do it.
Different ways to manage different people, yeah.
And we haven't seen any kind of identity. If he's so adamant that he's going to have one, surely within 12 games, if he sat in stands for 12 games, you've seen some of that arrive on the pitch. And as yet, for me, we haven't. And the things that really I just find bizarre is 2 weeks running, Tottenham and Saturday, is in his interview saying how proud he is. Really? Proud after that Tottenham performance? Really?
Yeah, that was a strange one. I got bits of Watford, but not
proud
Tottenham.
Because we scored a goal against FA Cup finalists.
If it had said I'd been proud of how Bakuna would have played or something, I get that. But
pick bits out, like you say, be proud of Bakuna, standing up, looking like he'd grown up a bit on Saturday, playing some great football.
To be fair to Jan, he's flourished under Sievert as well, hasn't he?
It's all a bit. It was all a bit of a waffle, if I'm honest.
As they say in your favourite TV show, Neil, there's a quote that says "words are wind," and I think that's pretty much what we're thinking out there. Let's see something. Danny, me and you both had a chat. Well, more of a couple of exchange of tweets, wasn't it, with a chap called David Hartrick. I always read it as David Hattrick. He's really good. He's worth a follow actually on Twitter. I think he's a Brighton fan, but he's the Opta stats guy, isn't he, in the stadium at Huddersfield, and I find it quite interesting because we're obviously speaking from emotion and we're emotive, we're annoyed, we're frustrated, and then there's a guy here who's watching Huddersfield, who's a neutral, and he's not really got a vested interest in how we do. He doesn't care. He's there to do a job, but obviously he's watching what's unraveling in front of him. So what David says is, in response to you and Martin, at Gledall Sykes says, I know that he's having a problem, but he's having to play the hand that he's been dealt at the moment. He suggests that we need to wait until he's got a few of his own cards in the pack and then judge. He may be gone 5 games into next season, but he thinks transfers, ins and outs, will change things enormously. And essentially what he's saying is as well that the team was moulded in David Wagner's own image, and he's a different character to David Wagner, which we've seen, and everything is shaped for, in terms of recruitment style, everything's shaped for David Wagner's system, David Wagner's way of playing, and he suggests now to just kind of write off the rest of this season, which is obviously hard for us to do because we have to sit there and watch it and be emotionally invested every week and pay 30 quid a ticket to go to Liverpool on Friday, etc. So it's difficult to do so, but there's sense in what he was saying though as well, Danny, isn't there?
There is, but there's also the issue of, people are saying he needs to bring in his own players. Does that mean he's identifying these players? Because we've not got a director of football, or is it still Josh Marsh? Because I also had the argument about whether Carlin Grant is actually a Jan Sievert signing, and we sort of went down the discussion of, he's approved it, but has he identified him in the first place? I can't see that.
No.
So is he identifying our summer targets, which previous seasons have already been identified by now and even started? So who's doing that? That'll
be Josh Marsh.
So he's giving him a list of players that he thinks might be suitable for him. I don't know.
I would imagine there'll be maybe a 3-pronged attack to this. What will happen is Josh Marsh will, as the recruitment manager, he's now the recruitment manager at Huddersfield. it's not just down to a director of football. So what they'll tend to do is Jan Sievert will give an idea of. I think he'll have an idea of players in Germany who he'll want to bring in.
But I mean, if you go back to the January window, we were all expecting after Dean Hoyle's statement, and again, this is where it's just words now, that we wouldn't sleepwalk into relegation. The sort of thought was, we've got people lined up here, and we've ended up with Punchin and Carl and Grant, and you're sort of thinking, well, yeah, Wagner getting dismissed has obviously changed that, but we've still gone ahead and got Grant.
Yeah.
So that's what worries me about this summer's incomings, especially.
Yeah, so with Grant, what will happen is the recruitment team will identify him, and then they'll take all the analytical videos, all the evidence to Jan Sievert. He may want to go watch him as a final check, but it'll be Jan Sievert who will decide yes or no whether we sign him. But
and he only had 10 days to do that.
There's no way Jan Sievert's come over from Germany.
No.
He knows who Karl Grant is at Charlton. I'd be very impressed if he did. He will do. Obviously, he'll know more about what's happening in England now. But I don't think for a minute that he came over and went, do you know what, that Karl Grant at Charlton Athletic, let's go get him. I don't think that would have happened.
No. But that's what worries me about this summer's deal and talking about bringing in his own players, because we've said he hasn't really got an identity so far from the performances. We don't really know what that is. I mean, he's talked about the three up front and so on, and that's what I get. The wingers that we've got, you can't expect him to work miracles with us, so I'm expecting a better front three. And expecting Grant to be a part of that, despite sort of rumours that other clubs might be interested. But the two wide men, that's the key thing, because Saturday against Watford, the movement was just awful. I mean, right on half time, Mbenza is stood in an offside position about 5 yards from the ball, and he's not looking to. He's just strolling back, and the ball gets played to him, and he's flagged offside. And that's just, I just can't understand that.
No, it's all right.
I thought something good was going to come up then.
No, sadly not. No, I understand. And Benza's a frustrating player, but Benza again, another one identified in the recruitment department, I believe.
Throughout that first half, he was also looking over to Sievert for positioning. Even at the start of the second half, there's a corner, and he looked over and asked, "Am I staying up or am I at the edge of the box?" But is that Sievert that's not getting his message across properly, or Mbenza that's just not understanding what's going on in the briefings?
To me, it looked the same under David Wagner, didn't it? I think bring Neil in as well. I think we said the same, didn't we, Neil, at the start of the season, where Mbenza was playing and he just didn't look like he knew where to stand, what to do, where to be. Essentially, he's a young player who needs coaching, but there's a severe lack of technical awareness, tactical awareness.
There's a player in there who ain't got a brain. He's one of those who, at amateur level, as a manager, you stood on touchline, literally falling up and down, talking him through game at every step, and he needs that. But unfortunately, for the best part of 12, 13 million quid, you can't afford to do that. At some point, he's got to learn that there's, he's got to learn. He's got to find his football brain somewhere. I'm not sure he's got one.
It feels like he needs one of those lads from the Premier League to sit there on a PlayStation pad and control him, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So Cosley, I don't know if you had any takeaway points from the article. You seem sort of less impressed as well.
I agree with Neil there. I just thought it was a big saying a lot without saying a lot, really, and that as well. And I think if it had come out when he first joined, and then it's transpired, then fair enough. But was it 12, 13 games in him? This is what he's thinking. He's almost like saying to me that I'm going to need 15 new players or something like that as well. I can't really do it with what I've got, but it's the job is huge. I think I mentioned other divisions, but I just thought, like last night, Brentford, what they played, they would have battered us. I thought, in where we are at the moment, we know we're going to have a new team, but
Brentford could batter anybody in that league.
They were
on their day.
15th though in the league, mate. The 15th, and it's just like that's what we've got. If anyone thinks we'll be all right or comfy and stuff, it's very hard to say now because we know it's going to be a much changed team, but the work that we have to do is so much.
The Championship, a lot of it's about consistency, isn't it? About trying to strike that consistency, and Brentford are just one of those teams they could beat anybody on their day, but they could lose to Ipswich when it's not their day. It's just one of those things, and I think we'll probably be a bit like that next year. So the last thing he said was that this club has been taken on an unbelievable, amazing ride by David Wagner. But what he wants to look at is the next step is to develop a club that can get into the Premier League, Cosy, and stay there. And he says he's the person to take this club through the process, which is fine. But I like that to do that, the club will take more than just good coaching. It needs structure, it needs finance, it needs we're losing director of football after director of football because the scouting networks aren't there. The equipment's not there. The whole football club needs lifting up across the board, right? And it's not just down to one coach to do that on a training field. It
needs a massive overhaul. I just think it needs a fresh change. Obviously, we talked last week about the articles, kind of with Dean, and is there going to be new ownership? But it just feels to me, it just feels like that it's just been a waste these last 14, 16 games. I don't know what anyone else thinks, but you don't see much evidence of.
Kind of struggling to see the value. This is what.
No, although I did say at the time, so I expect many more defeats and expect, kind of. But I want to see a little bit more now. I mean, there's getting in rumours that Schindler wants out, and I suppose you don't know what's right and what's wrong. I just feel we're coming into the Championship I'd settle for like bottom half next season. I really would. Just that would for me be. I'm really worried that we could go through again. I've said it a few times now, but week by week, I feel it even more.
We'll move on and do some tweets.
To be honest with you, I don't think you'll see the crowd anywhere near as positive if that does come true and we are bottom half. I think that will change rapidly.
Yeah. So let's move on to a few tweets as well. So the Tanzanian Terrier has been in touch, so thank you very much for doing so. And he said over the weekend, Jan Sievert seemed to imply it was him and him alone that brought in Grant Danny. It may be something lost in translation, but he can't get his head around him being solely responsible, which we covered. So we think he's been identified by the recruitment department, and then he's just essentially pulled the trigger. What he also says as well is that we really do need to hit the ground running next season. If we are not top 6 after 10 games, will Jan Sievert go? If he does, I would have no problems about David Wagner coming back, which isn't going to happen. He knows the club player and chairman, so he thinks he's used his sabbatical wisely. I think Hertha Berlin are very strongly linked with David Wagner at the minute. But top 6 after 10 games, do you think that'd be a bit harsh maybe? I think we need to just see some kind of direction, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, the trouble is it's not trouble, but there's going to be so many players we've never heard of. Let's be honest, most of the signings we won't have probably heard of. We're going to have to give them a chance, but I thought that's where they all part of these 16 kind of games and that as well. But I think what's been shocking for me is that I really thought we'd have a nucleus of 8 or 9 players, 7 or 8, maybe a bit naive to think we could move forward, but obviously there's been the issues with the Danes, and there doesn't on the pitch. Last week incredible, like Mounier, Moy, and obviously Lissel, and then they're all back in this week, and Oggs off, and
it all just seems really unharmonious. There's no positivity coming from anywhere. You don't hear any of it, and I think the town have missed a trick. When Wagner came in, I know we keep harping back to it, but when he came in, within days he's down at Millbridge doing a meeting in front of a couple of hundred fans. He did another one in front of a couple of hundred fans. We have to say, apart from this interview with Daniel Storey for ESPN, that, let's be fair, they'll reach a really minute percentage of town fans. We haven't seen anything of Jan apart from ranting and raving and screaming and shouting. Then the odd crowd. We haven't seen anything. It's a bit odd from the club.
What were they kind of like on Sunday, Danny? Were there anything you can tell us, or was it all pretty much no one really talking about? Was it future, or did football really not come up on the?
I think that's one of the things I was going to say. I think that awards, it was more concentrated on club staff. The sort of players were the end thing. I will give out the awards here. It was a lot about sort of town foundation and like the Emma Calderwood who passed away of cancer, and there's I think it was more concentrated on being a celebration of Huddersfield Town Football Club and awarding people who've done well for the charities and so on. And I certainly didn't hear much. I mean, the players for the most part were at the bar most of the evening, so I didn't see any. I didn't see any negativity towards them in terms of people being disgruntled or so on. But like I say, I think right from the start it was sort of focused on Huddersfield Town Football Club. We've had a great 2 years, but it was not about the on the pitch stuff. Yeah, we had the Player of the Year award and so on at the end, but even that was a bit sort of muted compared to the previous awards. It was a good event really, given that it can't have been easy for them to stage that. I saw all the tweets about, we shouldn't be having this, we shouldn't be doing that, but again, you look at how much money they raised from businesses and so on toward the Town Foundation, you can't really argue with that, because you can cancel it and then you've lost several thousand toward giving kids breakfasts and so on. So I think fair play to the club for going ahead. I was one of them who said we thought originally we should probably cancel this, but having been there, I do think it was the right thing to do to keep it going.
Right, that's a good segue on to the award ceremony, I think. I'll finish off with Gary Sykes, who said is the clear lack of management style a masterstroke from Jan Ziva. The opposition will have no idea what to expect the first few games of next season. Or is that just wishful thinking? I think that's wishful thinking, Gary, but I think we all wishfully think that. So we'll move on to the award ceremony.
Lovely take and turn by Grant. He's right between two defenders. Grant jinks, shoots high. Wonderful goal, Colin Grant. That's an absolutely top draw strike by Huddersfield Town's January signing.
So Danny, thanks for your little take on that there. It's interesting. You know, I think sometimes the reality is a lot more interesting when you go there and you can put across the club's point of view. I think sometimes when the club put the point of view across, it can maybe get a little bit lost because obviously the club are going to say something nice because it's the club, but it's good to hear you say something positive there, and especially about the great work that the Town Foundation do as well. And it is a brilliant system, Neil. You're a big champion, aren't you, of charity work and
I think
stuff
Town
that they do.
Foundation's a phenomenal thing, and in a season that has been as bad as it has been on football front, I think Danny's point's a very good one. I was one who probably erred on the side of this is madness having an awards night. How can you award anything on a season that's been as bad as this? But to concentrate on, obviously, Emma Caldwell, who passed away, on the Town Foundations there, as much as obviously the Emma Caldwell was very sad, to sort of turn that into a positive on the night and then do the Town Foundation stuff. I think it's, fair play to the club for
They
doing
honoured
that.
three women, Sue Farrell, Sue Beaumont and Anne Hoff as well, for 25 years service each, so 75 years between them.
Yeah, you can't fault that.
No, they are great as well when you speak. I've had dealings with Sue Beaumont and Anne Hoff, and they've both been fantastic when I've dealt with them. They're brilliant. Yeah, so they definitely deserve a mention as well. So we'll move on to who won what. So I think everybody knows by now who won what, etc. The one thing that stood out for me most, and I think this award probably meant the most out of anything. I like to say, Neil, it's been a poor season. Many people, if you win a player's player, it's thankfully they didn't do a golden boot. But if you win some awards in such a season, it probably means less. But one award which I think means a lot is the one that Elias Kachunga got, he was named PFA Community Champion, which is for the work that he does in the community, with the kids, etc. And I thought that was probably the best award of the players for the night, because he's a top man, is Elias Kachunga, and the work he does is really great with the Town Foundation as well.
Everything he does is positive. He's just one of those. He's an infectious character, isn't he?
Yeah.
And I don't think he's one of these. A bit like when Sean Scannell were here, he was very similar at getting out and doing all this, public spirited stuff. And Kachunga's very much in the same mould as that. And
Joel Lynch,
fair
Joel
play
Lynch,
to
to
him.
be fair, still puts money in, I believe, to
Does
Town
he?
Foundation. Yeah.
You see, those are the things that don't get shouted about. People are quick to.
In fact, Sean
Not the
Scannell
players.
only used to do the Town Foundation stuff because he couldn't drive, and Joel Lynch used to pick him up and take him.
Yeah.
So,
but
he did join him when he was there.
He
Yeah,
really enjoyed doing it.
I don't think he didn't want to do it.
No,
but yeah,
no.
they were both really good. At
Yeah, I
what they
think
did.
you've done him a disservice there.
No
Slap
disservice.
yourself.
But no disservice, but he couldn't drive. So
But he still didn't have to do it. He still could have said no.
He could have sat in the car. So Christopher Schindler won the Hargreaves Memorial Trophy, voted for by the fans, sponsored by Louise Woolard Financial. He got 23% of the vote, Hogg 19%, and Moyen Lussell got 12%.
Voted for by examiner readers, we should say,
Voted
rather
for
than
by
just fans, because
examiner
they could be a
readers.
separate breed, that lot.
Do you agree with that?
No.
No?
Simple
No,
as that. No.
I would thought. God, I was saying, I think on the podcast, I think got away with a lot this year. I think it's been at fault for so much, but
I think it's been let down a lot by who's been next.
My
to him.
choice would have been a strange one, and it'd probably been disagreed with by a lot. But and I've said it before on here, mine probably would have been Lossell. I think he's had a good season behind a shambolic team, and when you're up against that and you don't score, he's literally under constant pressure. And any slight little fault that he makes, and you're punished, and basically you're knackered for a week. So,
He's had a good year. He's had a good season.
He's just a good goalkeeper. It's a shame that we're not going to be seeing him next season.
As an ex-goalkeeper myself, I'll always say that goalkeepers always don't get the praise they or the glamorous awards that they sometimes deserve. I'll always say that as part
Carl
of
and
the
Grant
goalkeepers'
should
unit.
have got it for me.
No, behave.
I'd have pulled that award. I think
Pulled it.
somebody said Derby gave it to the fans that year they had with 11 points, but
Yeah.
I would have pulled that award myself.
So Schindler's the one who's won it. For me,
It
nobody's...
looked embarrassed on photograph, didn't
It's
it?
a sad indictment, and that player's player is not playing anymore.
Well, apparently he's injured, but so we'll move on. The players' player and young players' player was
Another injury. The
Philip-
call coming up out there. Just when we don't
Philip
need
Billing.
I can give you some insight on those two awards in that the way they did it is asking the players, but they asked them in pairs. So they sat, and the first one says, "Oh, Johnny Hogg," and then bloke next to him says, "Oh, I agree." When on the sort of Wayne Hennessy thing, if one of them had said Hitler, bloke next to him says, "Oh, I agree," because I don't think they were really listening. It was almost comical by end of it, and you're
How
thinking,
could Wayne Hennessy vote for someone who he didn't know he is?
I'm saying that one of the town players would have voted for him, but
Yeah.
yeah, they were in pairs, so they could hear. Obviously, they're just like listening to one of them would give out a really big. Oh, I think Johnny Hogg because he's been putting tackles in. He's always there, gives 110%, and then over to you, Alex Pritch. However, yeah, what he said. That was basically it.
God.
So they were,
I imagine they'd do it in like a ballot properly.
Yeah.
do you know?
no,
But
it was-
that's a bit
they definitely
disappointing
put them all
too.
in pair. The only two that disagreed constantly on things they had in a pair was Mounier and De Poitre, which is sort of like they are on pitch. They're just like
Disagree
Oil
with
and
the
water.
crosses. Yeah. You can't lead the horse to
Yeah.
either.
No, no, you can't.
So Philip Billing won the players' play. I could kind of, do you know, the thing is, I don't think anyone's played particularly well since January. Since
Billy had
Jan
a
came in.
cracking spell from sort of
They did-
September
they did,
up
Everton and
towards
that,
Christmas, and
yeah.
this is we said on here.
If you'd have voted for Player of the Season in January, Philip Billings won it hands down, hasn't he?
Fulham.
Yeah, he has, yeah, without a doubt.
And I don't think anybody's been particularly that great since then. Bakuna's had the odd flash. Callan Grant's had. a couple of
How many
good
games have we
but-
won since
Yeah,
then?
when you've lost 29
So,
games of football,
you know,
you're not
it's-
going to have
Yeah, so Dan Peckett has sent as a tweet which says thoughts on the Players' Choice Award to Philip Billing. Could this be a subtle message from the players about how they feel about Seaver? But I think that's probably thinking too much into it. I think it's just he did well at a certain
That's
point.
nature of a bad season and things that have gone on, though. People will start putting two and two
Yeah, of
together and getting
course.
8.5.
I can't
Of
believe
course.
the season hasn't finished yet, guys. It just seems to. I say this every week, but God,
It's lingering in
is it not like August
Like a
20,
bad smell
24
now.
now? Or something like, God.
Like a bad smell. But yeah, it's Phil Billing. I'm not overly bothered that he's won the. I'm not bothered that anybody won that award. I don't think it's exactly a.
I'll be honest, previous
glowing
years,
reference on the CV.
I've been to one of these awards, but previous years, it's one of those where there's a lot of people on Twitter that night waiting for, is it announced, I forgot. I forgot it were on.
What's
Interest
mad?
gone.
It was on the HTFC business account.
Yeah,
wasn't
the
it?
Yeah.
official HTFC
I think they
account,
tried to
which
keep it low, didn't
absolutely
they?
sort of on that coverage of that FIFA tournament just went totally over the top. But yet on their own awards, they didn't even mention it barely. So
I think
I
that
think
was
it's for
done
fear of
purposely
backlash,
just to
yeah.
sort of maybe leave it on
Backlash.
a bit quieter, which
like I
I
say,
don't mind.
they opened with like awards for Emma Calderwood and Terrier Spirit and that, and nobody's
I think
nobody in the
they're- I
right
think
mind's
they're-
going to criticise that if
No.
they open with those and say, look, this is what we. It's a player awards at the end, but I mean, they must be used to getting abuse every weekend now, surely.
Yeah, you think so?
Pretty much. We'll ask Dave. I think Dave Threlfall Sykes has given us a thumbs up that he may hopefully come on this one day. So it'd be something good to ask Dave, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So that's the award ceremony. Philip
Breaking
Billing.
news: Dave Threlfall Sykes has just cancelled.
Yeah, too negative. I'm not going on with those negative whoppers.
I can't believe that FIFA player didn't get any votes for Player of the Year. Whatever
Took us
his
to the
name
Premier League, didn't he?
was. He did.
I think it's first quarter-final Huddersfield have got to since
And the last-
1972. So well done.
I tell you what, I
Kevin, what was
noticed
his name?
driving
The
past.
Painter or something? The Rebel
one of them
Painter?
was
I
Rebel.
can't
I tell you what, I
remember.
noticed driving past Canalside last night. The Premier League. It says Premier League fan zone. They've got rid of that now, and it says just like get your season cards for. What says goals? What does it say? Goals.
Oh,
God,
yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Trading
patch
standards will be
list,
onto
yeah.
that,
It's
won't they?
incredible, that, isn't it? Who
Yeah,
thought that?
yeah, goals is there.
Yeah, yeah, but there's,
Wait till Friday, lads. Keep their faith.
yeah,
Hope
yeah.
they're
You
tough.
never know. We might get a load next season. Hopefully we do. But
Well, Carl and Grant. What can we say? Just natural predator, isn't it? I'm trying to rein it
good
in because I'm
move,
thinking.
really good movement for the goal. This
Yeah,
goal.
and
really
most
good
of his
movement.
goals have been exactly some of the movement, different styles. He looks something different we've never had. I just don't want to pile the pressure on the guy.
He reminds me a lot of Jordan Rhodes
Looks an
inside the
absolute
box.
gem.
His movement inside
Yeah.
the box, how he sneaks, he's very similar to
Him
what Rhodes
and
used to do.
Bakuna are probably, and Stankovic to a lesser extent, are the sort of
spine, isn't it? You're looking for
the little sparks that you see that might be good for next
It
season.
should have been Grant when we were crying out for him and he was never getting a game. All of a sudden, he comes on and does stuff. And again, if Jan's going to claim that's great management, it's just like
no, he was ill.
mate.
He was ill, so I don't think he could play much more. I think he was still a bit ill after the game. On
No,
Saturday,
I meant in that start of the season when we were like, why not get him on? We were calling it in here, and they were like, yeah, but he's, got to adjust. And he was rubbish, man. He was a confidence player. He came in on
He
goals.
dropped him after his Arsenal goal as well, didn't he?
Yeah. That was another thing.
After the great lengths were gone to get him that goal, to then not start him next game was bonkers.
It's good motivation, Neil. This is what management's about, mate.
It's bollocks, is that?
Maybe he'd been out just celebrating his goal too much.
Don't beat that out either.
I'm still not convinced by him getting subbed off at West Ham either. To be honest with you, I know that it's. I think this is a sort of Hamer knock sort of thing. They said, he's signalled to come off, but surely adrenaline keeps you going, and for anything other than a hamstring strain or something. But
I can't remember. I'm trying to suppress these memories, Danny. And you're bringing these up.
Every goal will be a memory. I know what that means now. Because you remember them, don't you?
How can you forget the two we've scored? So what we'll do, we'll leave the award ceremony behind. Congratulations to those who've won. Some of the community stuff is fantastic, and those that the HTSA won a couple of things as well. So
we're gonna have a
If
zone
they
though,
called
Matt.
it goal at year, it would have been quite literal, wouldn't it?
We're having a zone, aren't we, though?
We are, yeah. So we are going to have our own end of season awards due after the Southampton game. So that's something to be aware of. And what I'll say now is that
free bar.
There's no bar. It's at my house, yeah. So although I can't shift these
pockets.
beers under here, so if anybody wants them. But essentially what we want people to do is send us in to our Twitter or Facebook accounts, or even Instagram if you wish. Please send in what awards you would like to hear at the end of the season. We've got a few lined up and we're not going to reveal too much too soon, but it would be great to hear what you would like next, after the Southampton game, and we will do our best to oblige. So we'll move on from awards.
Have we really scored 14 goals this season? That's a score. We haven't we? Honestly,
cherish everyone.
14? He's just sorry
Is that
about
what we
this.
scored? 14? Is that
I
many
think
points we've
so.
got?
And that's including the cup. Oh no,
14
that
points,
can't
yeah.
Bakunas against Stoke, Neil, haven't we?
Yeah, if you were there, it's a good one. Penalty.
So we'll move on from the awards ceremony to an even more illustrious award.
The things you say, your patrons just give you away. The things you say, you're unbelievable.
Okay, Neil, there's been one or two people could have pinched this week, but I believe that we have a runner-up and we have a clear winner this week.
I'll let you do it running up first.
So the runner-up would have to be on Saturday. Cozzy, who would you have given man of the match on Saturday to?
Carl Grant.
Right, that didn't go as I expected. Neil, who would have been the man of the match for you on Saturday?
Nailed on Bacuna.
Nailed on Bacuna. Nailed on Bacuna for me. Danny?
Yeah, Bacuna as well.
So, okay, anybody who sponsors a game and sponsors the club is obviously will receive a lot of gratitude from the club. Thank you for sponsoring our football club and getting behind them. But one thing we couldn't quite get behind was Isaac and Benza being given man of the match. That was a little strange, but thank you for sponsoring the club nonetheless. But Neil, we have a clear winner this week from a journalist who I believe writes for The Observer, Time, Spectator and Standpoint, and he's also the author of What's Left and You Can't Read This Book. And now he is the Whopper of the Week.
He is a gentleman called Nick Cohen, on Twitter at NickCohen4. What an absolute danger this one is. I would advise anyone needing to harden themselves against the disappointments of life to become a supporter of Manchester United at once. Manchester United have won Champions League, record-holding Premier Leagues, FA Cups, UEFA Cups, Cup Winners' Cups, League Cups, FA Cups, Charity Shields. They've bought players in excess of 90 million quid. They've had the pleasure of watching Beckham, Giggs, Keane, Van Nistelrooy,
Simon Davis,
Massimo Taibbi,
etc. And this absolute danger thinks that to harden himself in disappointments of life, he should become a Man United fan. There's literally probably 80 odd.
89, 91 maybe?
Yeah, possibly. But there's 80 odd football clubs out there who will be up for this award more. And it just shows you how utterly turned off from reality so-called fans of these top clubs are, that Man U is the major disappointment. What? Just an absolute weapon.
I think you echoed that on Twitter, didn't you, Danny?
Yeah, it's just mad. I mean, don't even take your football club that seriously anyway, but to suggest that Man United is how you would define disappointment in life, it's just... Have you just got no awareness about what else is going on in the world of football other than the top six? It's that if it had been some fan, then you just like write it off as him being an idiot. But the fact that he's a journalist with the Observer and so on.
So thanks to everyone who got in touch with us on Twitter. So we'll read out a handful of tweets just now, and then we've got a new feature which will be Cozzy's tweet of the week. But first we'll go through a couple of these. So thank you to everybody who has sent the tweets in. We're trying to shorten the podcast a bit this week, so sadly we can't read out everybody. So we've tried to reply on Twitter. At HTFC Dreams says, do you think Sievert needs to be judged after the transfer window, players shipped out and ability to have style of play formed with his type of players, or is he just a good talker? And I think we'll give a one-word answer to that one, Neil. Yes, I think that is. I think he's just a good talker. Our friend Clive Wilkinson says he needs the transfer window on 6 games at least, which is fair enough. Essex Terrier said, would you welcome David Wagner back as director of football? No, he's a manager first and foremost.
The ship sailed with David Wagner. Get on with it, your life, David. Thanks for what you did. FLSA, etc., etc. Can we move on from that?
So here's a really good one from @Denny Ledger. So I won't call him Danny this week. It's Denny, Denny. Sorry about previously calling you Denny. He says, thoughts on Sabiri and his time at the club, potentially attracting interest from Germany, and saying he wants a fresh start in Germany as well.
Well, we were discussing this in our group today, and I think it just sums up the bizarre carried on in that as well. We've got to get here. We've got German under-21 international, and you can't even get on the bench in the worst Premier League team, apart from Derby's ever been.
No offence to Matty Daly. I thought Matty Daly did really well when he came on, did really well. But why can't a German under-21 get on our bench?
No. Can you imagine what he must be thinking there? I mean, again, no offence to Matty Daly. He's sat there thinking, hang on a minute, there's a little kid coming on here.
And he's got man of the match twice. Yeah. I think twice, has he, for Germany under-21?
Whether it's right or wrong, them clubs interested in him, some stellar clubs, but everyone else has had a go. Why is he not? But
I can't.
Danny Williams is another one of those mystery ones, you know.
I can't fathom it. And for me, I would have liked to have seen Sabiri by now. He was starting to look good in the little cameos he was having, and came in at Bournemouth. And he looked
injury though.
He only came on for like 20 seconds, and he looked sharp in his first movement, and then got injured. And it's sad that he's not got the opportunity here, because I think next season, in that 4-3-3 box to box, I think he could have been really good.
Training ground must be a horrendous place to be when you've got like Sabiri didn't even get on the bench. Williams, after last week, you got the Danes that were banned from playing. Well, one of them's back now, and the other two's bench, and then he might not be, and the other guy's been bombed out of it. Our players play it. It must be an awful place to throw in 29 games defeats, and honestly, it must be. Wow, there's not a lot to say.
It's going to be all change, isn't it, this summer? I think that's what our takeaway is, that there's going to be a lot of change this summer, and it'll be sad to see Abdelhamid Sabiri go, because I think there's a genuinely good player in there.
I think we'll look back in a few years and see him play in Bundesliga and say, wow.
I think we'll regret that one, sadly. But it surprises me, because Jan Sievert has a track record of German under-17s, 18s, 19s, etc. So you would think that he would have been looking at him.
And he never gives the ball away.
It looks like Town are going to give him away, sadly. So Tanzanian Terrier's been in touch again. Thank you very much again for getting in touch. He says, Dean Hoyle has said in his notes from the annual awards that we have learnt from our mistakes. What mistakes have we made other than the poor recruitment? I have had my doubts this weekend as to whether Jan is the right man today, and I've changed my mind again, so he's flip-flopping. So in terms of mistakes, the first one that comes to my mind, Neil in particular, and Danny as well, I'll throw this one into you. And Cozzy, I know this really riled you at the time.
That's all of us then.
Yeah, so I'll bring in all three of you, and do you know, I'll get the missus from upstairs because I'm sure it riled her up.
And the
as
cat,
well.
that's doing
the
it.
cat, the little one,
invaders.
all of you get in here. But the thing that really riled me up at the start was us pretty much writing off the first 2 games of the season as if it didn't matter. I think that was step one of, apart from recruitment and stuff, I think that was the next step in our mistakes and just
Cardiff season starts again.
yeah,
you don't
exactly.
do that.
I think that put too much pressure on that Cardiff game, and I think we went on a
I'll
bit
tell you
of a
what,
spiral
I'm going to
from
go
there.
smack it before. I know it makes probably zero difference to the pitch, but I just think the badge. I know I'm not going to let this drop, but it's just like we will
Rubbish,
concentrate.
that's what it is.
What were the point in that? And I just thought this is a club. Hang on a minute, we did what we did. We've always gone our way, and then it was like I'm just confused, thinking where are we kind of heading? What's the focus here? You know, is it about selling shirts or what? Why are we doing this?
Well,
And
breaking news, Cozzy. Breaking
Yeah,
news, not
oh.
about the badge. But Sean
Oh.
Jarvis has agreed to come on and do a special episode with us, and we can ask him that very question. If he
I
doesn't
just
mind.
thought then, what was the focus? What's our focus? Is it like we're here to stay? Is it, I don't know. It just,
Foreign markets, I would presume.
yeah, I'm mad with that. But
Foreign
yeah, a lot
markets, I
of
would
people were
presume.
shouting at me thinking talking rubbish. But again, I just thought,
I know what you mean. I think we talked about culture and identity last
Yeah.
week, and people strongly identify with the original Huddersfield Town badge. We hate the shield. I'm going to say everybody again. We all hate the shield. We hate the shield, but we like the badge,
What's
and I think
inside
that's
it, but yeah.
that's an identity of
The
Huddersfield
shield
Town.
is in it.
Yeah, it's not good, but the badge itself is great. So looking back, the badge from when it was first changed in 1999 by Barry Rubery, you look back at that badge now and it's actually not bad when you look at it. But
No.
fans have such a strong
That badge
identity.
wasn't
It's similar to the Man City one now,
think-
which gets a lot of kudos.
I suppose we'll do a season review later on. But I just thought, we touched on that game there with Bakuna's horrendous. But that was one of the big moments when I thought I'm really worried here because Stoke had a stinking start. We obviously gave. God, I forgot what his name is now. His first goal for about 100 matches.
Berahino, yeah.
Berahino. And we looked at what we had on the pitch, which was, more than enough. I think Moy would his sub wanted. That was the only thing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But apart from that, I was like,
And he'd left Pritchard out early games and out of that as
Yeah.
well. And you just thought, hey,
I just drove away. I wanted to park it and think, well, it's just a League Cup game. But then
Every game matters.
but that should have been where we played his best.
I don't move particularly quick, but I got out of there sharpish.
Yeah,
Unlike the league game where it took us 2 hours to get out of that car park. And we'll be back next season. We'll Stoke.
but again,
Sorry.
God, we're going. I suppose it is a season review, but I know we had a big disagreement on it at the time, and that as well with us sending off with Brighton. That to me, that is the defining moment maybe of our.
We can't really control that in terms of mistakes that we at Huddersfield Town have made or Dean Hoyle's made.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I understand it. Me and Neil thought it was a mistake from Michael Oliver, and you're obviously a Spanish football aficionado, and
Everything's
in Spain
easy
it will
though.
get sent off.
Everything's easy in hindsight though. And I feel a
Yeah,
bit
of course
tight
it is.
kind of calling all this now. It's
I-
if we knew, why don't we ring Dean Hoyle and tell him?
Exactly. And in terms of recruitment as well, it's easy to say you should have bought so and so and so and so and so and so when you've only got an X amount of money as well. It's easy to kind of say we should have bought XXX when you don't
My
have the money
biggest
to.
issue with transfer windows was lack of any kind of experience of this level. And we haven't signed any in two windows.
I mentioned Mark Albrighton, didn't I, the other week, who would have been good, but he's probably unrealistic as well. But as David Wagner says, what did he once famously say? It doesn't matter how experienced you are, but Premier League, does that really carry any water? But anyway, so we'll move on to our last one that I've picked out, which is from Mike at Terrier7N2, and he says, Mbenza, after hearing the money slot you did the other week, would Mbenza be a snip at 9 million over 3 years at 3 mil a season when good championship players can cost nearly double? I don't know. I think that'll reveal itself. From what I understand, I don't think we've got much choice on Mbenza, and we
Apparently it's
to make the signing. So
we're going to buy him.
Right?
yeah.
we have to.
God,
We're
oh
obligated.
my God.
Every loan that we've done has been based on player making X number
Bit
of
sounds of it with
appearances.
Mbenza. It was done where we rushed through because it was so late in the day. We rushed through to get it on loan, but the deal was done to
It's
get it through on loan.
I think what worries me even more with Benza, I thought it's on Saturday where
He's headless.
there were a couple of times where they were like, there were a ball there to
Malvin.
get, or and he were like afraid and kind of going in for tackles.
There's a confidence issue, isn't there, as well?
But Championship football's been like 10 times worse. You get a bit of time on ball in Premier League. Next season will be like dog eat dog.
I think if you can read a game, you get time on the time on the ball in the Championship,
God,
and
I
you
didn't know
can
that.
skip away. But
Jesus,
he can whip a ball.
Yeah, I mean Burnley, that were one of the highlights. The ball of Mooney.
He put two all right ones in on Saturday as well. Two half decent balls, which were just slightly off.
So could Gary Roberts and Anthony Pilkington in League One. You know, for that sort of money, just that.
It's a lot, isn't it?
You've upset me now knowing that you're going to die.
What we're paying for?
Danny's not going to come back for another 6 weeks.
One of our is blocked 2 story, but our is it 9? What do you say? 9 million we have to pay for him.
I think that's Mike's guess. I think he's saying 3 million a season, but I think these are the stories from France, so I'm getting this from France and probably Babblefish, if you like.
I'll tell you what, club's going to have a job dressing that one up and revealing it on social media.
He'll probably just return for like pre-season training and probably hide the pictures. No, I think it's done, and we have to. The noise from France is that it's done, and we have to do it. And Danny, not to upset you, but I believe we've paid 3.5 million to take him on loan this season, and we have to pay a further 10 to make it permanent, to make him a £13.5 million footballer.
That's mad.
According to people in France. Well, hopefully that's euros, but the exchange rate doesn't cover much.
Half of that's ridiculous.
Yeah, but that's what it is. So to cheer us up, Cozzy, let's go with a new feature that we've just decided 5 minutes ago. So
yeah, tweet of the week. I want to try and put positive. Obviously, Neil's whopper won't be surpassed, but the man who. Scott Bradley, a lot of people know him. What a legend. The guy who rolled down a trolley at Northampton Town.
Stop you there. So we're still rolling with a name here. So we've got Whopper for one. So should this be a zinger, maybe?
What does that mean? I'd have to go.
It's burgers. Is it?
KFC. I know it's fast food.
Something that'll make us smile. That I don't know.
A zinger would make me smile right about now after talking about this show.
I was just laughing because Man United were getting thrashed on Sunday at Everton over the goals were going in, and Scott, as like he does, just finds a way to make everyone smile. I didn't go down the trolley and six fields, but he just put, "Don't worry, United fans, I can promise you will win your next away game." Simple as that, really. But
it's funny because
Scott was turned up when we won away at Brentford 4-0 in League One promotion season. Scott turned up. We went to Brentford. There's about 20 of us on train at 5 o'clock in the morning from Wakefield. And weather forecast.
He's live at that time
October
as well, isn't
1st, but the weather had been ridiculous. And weather for that forecast, like they were red hot. So we're all there. Shirts, t-shirts, shorts, what have you. Scott rocks up looking like a Cliff Richard tribute act. White t-shirt, white shorts, white socks. To only get covered very, very early in the day by an exploding bottle of Diet Coke. So he's walking around London all day like a Frisian cow.
He won't care though.
Vintage Bradders, it was absolutely class. He's a legend.
You know what? We'll have to find that video at Northampton and put it on our Twitter during the summer. Yeah. It is just cool because he was ahead of his time with Scott, Jackass and all that carry on. That copied at him. It was just incredible. And he just gets out of this trolley and he's like arms in the air. We're off to Northampton, League One. And honestly, the guy, he's just he just always makes you smile. What a great guy.
Williams streaking across the halfway line, runs into Christopher Schindler and Town knock it forward. De Poitras forward. De Poitras got the better of the and Laurent De Poitras scores! Laurent De Poitras scores! He bumped off the keeper.
So we'll move on to the game this Friday, and I'm sure you're all really happy to talk about this. Apparently, according to Paddy Power, 75% of Huddersfield Town fans want Liverpool to win the league, and we'll do a quick straw poll here. I want Man City to win the league because I find Liverpool fans unbearable.
Man City.
Cozzy, Liverpool.
Not bothered, mate, honestly. Sorry.
Abstain, Danny.
Liverpool, just because I don't want Man City winning it 3 times. I know this is a bit second time, but then next season I'm worried.
Who knows? Okay, so it's not 75-25 in here. Even if Cozzy wants Liverpool, it's still 50-50. I'm not a big fan of the
Is
cult,
anyone
the cult
looking
of LFC.
forward to this game at all, apart from Jurgen Klopp and 11 people wearing red?
There's a few licking their lips, I think, called Mohamed Salah. And
the only
Sadio
positive I'm
Mane.
thinking is 2 things. A, it's not on a Saturday, so that strengthens us hopes of a win. And B, they've got Barcelona around the corner, and part of me wonders whether, they might start strong and leave off, but then part of me wonders, do they want to maybe get even that goal difference up? And wow, it's going to be an audible night.
I think they'll do a
Sorry,
professional job on us. No, they'll do a professional job on us. But even if they drop, say, Salah, they can bring in Shaqiri, can't they? It's not.
I don't think he will. We'll do it at the start. I think he'll just start with his best, won't he?
Probably.
Yeah.
The part of you just wants to go, do you know what? We're off to see some of the best players in the world. We should enjoy it, but you can't enjoy it when they're absolutely waltzing around the ones who you support.
I've had enough of that now. Yeah.
What do you think his tactics will be?
I'm not going. I've abstained from the chance to go to Huddersfield
The atmosphere, the cup, the Anfield Cup.
I liked it last season.
The iPads.
Silence of the lambs.
Walk
There's more
on.
iPads there than Apple Store. It's not. It's just not for me. I hated it.
It's like a Wapple store.
I absolutely hated
In
it.
your eyes.
That was worst game.
Neil, you'll be regretting it when we're winning 2-0, mate.
I will. I'll watch it. I will watch it, but I just no. It just
There's about a third of Liverpool fans singing that, and other ones are just like with their phones filming it
We've sold out,
on
haven't
their
we?
iPads.
Have we?
Yeah, I think so.
yeah, we have. I'm not sure if we took up for allocation. Like
No.
Oh, do we not? I don't think. Oh, yeah, that's right. And it's someone said that on Saturday that they don't giving us as much.
Yeah, I'm going on Friday. I'm not really looking forward to it, and I'm also going to buy Southampton tickets as well this week. So, lucky me.
you are a danger.
Lucky me.
You'll need to sort
Lucky
yourself
me.
out. You
What
need
do
to
you
find
think we
something
should
better
do?
to
Seriously, guys, do you think we should?
This is what I'm going to say on the thing. It's a good question. Do we go? Does he do what he does at Tottenham? Go 5-4-1, looking at damage limitation, or does he go and play 4-3-3 and be expansive? That's the thing.
The problem you've got is
We're going to be out of the
Tottenham
game.
packed in at 2-0 and got two late ones.
Yeah, they were cruising. Yeah.
Where Liverpool going for league and goal difference, whatever else, if they're 2-0 up early, there's no way they're putting brakes on. So it could be messy.
Could be for them in midweek.
They'll see
But
Messi at Barca, won't they? But it could be messy with us. I think.
It could be bad. This.
It'd be interesting to see what score is at Manchester Derby tomorrow, because if Man U get anything out of that, Liverpool will be absolutely buzzing for Friday to put a gap in there.
I think the game, that's the title decider, Man United versus Man City. And I think if Man United beat Man City, I think Liverpool will win.
It's
the league.
sad, but we've become a laughing stock now, aren't we? You hear it on the TV and the radio. People are just like,
No one wanted to go. We
We'll
wanted to go
get
down.
mocked on Friday from start
No
to
one
finish.
wanted to go down like the way we are doing, do we?
It's such.
It's been awful.
Can you imagine though? The only positive I'm thinking, imagine if this had been this first when we got promoted, this could have happened. And can you imagine if it had been this, would that have been our lingering memory?
As town fans were spent about 60 minutes singing "Oh What a Night" on Saturday, and to be honest, for that song and for that memory, we'd do it all again, wouldn't we?
Yeah, I'm ready for that on Friday. Drink responsibly. Anyone's going. I know loads of people are getting there for 12 o'clock in
I'm
Liverpool.
driving sadly, so I'm going to be a barrel of laughs after that, I think.
But it just proves, though, doesn't it? All these people that said to us, enjoy the Premier League, and I hate it at work. Oh, you'll enjoy Anfield. How can you enjoy?
Nah,
that?
those grounds.
They don't get it.
Those grounds are awful. Liverpool were awful. Man U were awful. West Ham were by far and away the worst.
They leave on
It's not a
60 minutes
football
because you
ground.
can't get the tube back otherwise.
Yeah.
Sky won't have
Arsenal were awful.
Sky have got a line in now.
I thought Everton would be decent. That were rubbish.
Everton were naff.
Everton's probably the worst, the quietest one of them.
We won't even get mentioned on previews. They might not even name his team, will they?
And that's the problem as well, isn't it? That these teams aren't excited about Huddersfield going there, so they're not going to make a lot of racket. They'll sell the tickets. They'll sell it on to someone who's a talk coming in from China or whatever.
An iPad
wearer.
wielding
So they're
whopper.
not
I'd rather
bothered.
just have a go, though. Come on, mate. I want people to think at least Huddersfield tried, though. I don't want to just
Let's
sit
be
back
fair.
and-
We're going to finish second, and if Ref has a good game, we'll probably finish third because their team will be better than ours.
But
We're
again,
going to get
as a
walloped one
player-
way or another, aren't we?
Yeah.
So it's
As a town player, you shouldn't need motivating to play at Anfield in front of Cop and just ruin stuff for them, surely. I mean, you'd love it. wouldn't
That's
you?
got to be the motivation, and the motivation could go there and,
Yeah, I'd be
and
thinking that.
spoil
Paul.
it.
Yeah.
But I don't think Town possess the backbone to go and put in that kind of effort, to be honest. And I know that sounds quite damning, but I don't think we've got the players in the squad at the moment with the mentality to go there and kick a few shins and knock
Not
a
like
few
12
ankles.
months ago.
It'd be horrible.
I think the scary thing for me, a lot of these games we've lost, I just feel the teams have just stepped off the gas. I thought Watford did it again on Saturday because they know we can't score. I just wondered
the
if
Bournemouth
Liverpool
game
won.
hurt me. To be honest, Bournemouth beat us in first gear and they hadn't won away from home for about 10
that
games.
is
And
the
Watford did the
that's-
same Saturday, to be fair.
Because to be honest though, if goal difference, they could be, what is it, 7 or 8 now or something like that. They might be saying, right, lads, we want to close that.
It could be. I think there's a 2-point gap, isn't there? So if both of them win up, or it's not going to come to that. But I don't. It could do. So I presume they'll cover that off if the best they can.
Well, I mean, obviously we forgot about Derby's season, but I can't. Has there ever been a game? I suppose Man City away last year, although there were still people wondering if because they'd won the league, whether they'd still be had a drink or what have you. But has there ever been a game where there's such bigger gap as what we're going to see on Friday? I can't recall it be at all.
Just we're all sat here shrugging, aren't we?
Yeah.
I think there's probably the only thing that'll cheer us up, and I know it'll cheer Danny up because he's not seen or heard it for a while, but I think we could all do with a nice croon from Michael Baldley over there.
Oh, Michael Baldley, I've heard it before and that as well, innit? When Huddersfield Town come up again, ta-ra, ta-ra. When Huddersfield Town go up again, ta-ra, ta-ra. When Huddersfield Town go back to the Premier again, I'll be
110.
nah.
Is this the moment for Lee Fowler? It is. Take your place in Division 2, Huddersfield Town.
He's missed. Steve Simonson clears the frame of the goal and collapses in a heap of tears.
Pate's got a chance. Pate scores. Jack Pate scores.
Heffer's in there.
Smith scores for Huddersfield Town. 3-2 Town. Boris Jerry. Danny Ward saves. Danny Ward saves. The Quattro's in. Round De Gea. 2-0 Huddersfield Town.
Christopher Schindler has a chance to write his name in Huddersfield Town legend. And he takes that chance!